Hi, all. It's Pedro Baez from Go for Glory Stable. I am the founder and managing partner of Go for Glory Stable, and we are a fractional ownership group based mainly in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts area, and where basically we offer a platform for people who want to do something, want to invest their money in something non-traditional. You want to do something, um, a little more exciting than crypto or treasury bonds, things like that, or the stock market. You can invest in a racehorse, and you can invest in building a stable of racehorses that, the way you want to do it. So what we do, we have a combination of stakes racehorses and yearlings for those looking, for that high upside, stakes racing type, shoot for the stars type racehorses. We have claimers who are available, racing every single week at your local tracks, and same thing with conditioned racehorses, racing every single week at your local tracks. And the beauty of it is you can build it however you want it. So, if you're someone who likes this more the babies and the stakes racing, you can do it like that. You're someone who likes more of the claimers and you want just horses racing every week. That's up to you. So that's what the group offers. You can purchase the horses and analyze the horses and see their past performance and see their pedigrees directly on our website. And you'll get updates like this from me and Charlie Longo every single week. And so you'll always know what's going on. Plus, we're always available if you have any questions or want to chat. And then last but not least, if it's up to you, if you like it, we also have a lot of in-person events. So you'll run into Charlie and I often at the racetrack or at actual official in-person events at the training center where you can jog your own horses at Hamiltonian Day, things like that. So that's it's a lot of fun, and it really, for me, I can't imagine a life without owning racehorses. So I love it. Today is September 7th, 2025, and this is the baby update. So let's before. So I want to make this video. This is gonna be a let's start this video with the recent email I sent. So I want to just explain a few things of how it works. So basically today is the 7th. So in 8 days, on October 8th, is the Goshen Yearling Sale. So it's actually in Middletown, New York, but they call it the Goshen Yearling Sale. And I sent an email out where essentially we're starting to offer our first package for those yearlings. So basically, what it is we're looking for 2 yearlings. So I'm just going to explain just to people who were on the mailing list and got this distribution email, and then also for anyone who's listening who's not on the mailing list, kind of what we sent out. So basically, we sent out an email yesterday to everyone, just letting you know that the yearling sale is here, the Goshen Yearling Sale, which is our first sale that we normally participate in every year, and it's where you get the 1-year-olds, and they're usually not too expensive, and that's why we always go there, just to try to look to see if we find anything that's has some value to it, or some upside to it that maybe people are overlooking. That's where we got Going to Vegas. A bunch of other horses like Gretzky the Great, Crazy for Love, a bunch of other horses we got from Goshen that's done very well. And there's been horses from Goshen that have done very well, just in general, just in stakes racing, in general. So it's a good sale for New York horses. It has some New Jersey in there. It has some Pennsylvania, but not much, not a ton. And it has a little bit of Massachusetts breds in there. Like I said, not a ton, but it has some. And there's not a ton of Massachusetts breds in general, but it has a lot of New York though. So it has a lot of New York that's at good prices, and so that's where we'll be. So I will be there. Charlie will be there. I know a couple of you have already said you might be there, so that's good because it's for me it's been a while. It's been like 7 years, 8 years since I've been to it, but I'm long overdue, and I actually liked it. I love these sales. It's exciting to see. You're trying to get a horse, and you're hoping to win that bid. So it's a lot of fun. So, and then we'll see if we might grab lunch or with some of you that arrive or dinner if we stick around, things like that. So that's what's going on with the Goshen yearling sale. We're looking for two. So we're looking for two yearlings from this sale. We'll see if it happens. Once again, we're anticipating that the two, out of the horses that we're looking at, we're anticipating it's going to be around 40,000. And when we say 40,000, like, you could see one yearling might be 20,000, the other yearling might be 20,000, so 40,000, or one yearling might be 10,000, the other yearling might be 30,000. Don't really know, but for what we're looking at, that's kind of like the budget, and we think based on the horses that we have on the radar, that we think we should be able to get them in that range. So basically, the way the package works is, you can hold your spot. So the biggest thing for you is if you know you want yearlings, which you really should. So you should never, in general, it's never a good idea to have just all conditioned racehorses or claimers. Some people do. So from my perspective, let me rephrase that. From my perspective, I've had the most success always having some sort of stakes yearlings and stakes horses going. It's just kind of how it's worked for me. There are some people who do nothing but claimers. There are some people who do nothing but conditioned racehorses. They don't do claimers. They don't do yearlings at all. So I don't want to say like it's the only way. I'm just saying for me in particular, and us, the Gulf of Glory guys, who we've owned horses for a while. We've had a lot of success, always mixing in some sort of yearlings and trying to build a good stable through the draft. I call it like the NFL draft, trying to build your stable through the draft, and then you add in claimers and conditioned horses, race horses, as needed, so you have a good mix in your stable. So with that being said, we're looking for our first two. This isn't going to be the only two, so we're going to be looking at Lexington in early October, at Harrisburg in early November. So this isn't going to be it, but those might be, they might be more expensive. So, and the thing with yearlings is, good horses can come from anywhere. You don't need to spend a fortune to get lucky with a really good yearling. So, like for example, Corner Store, is a yearling that Paul Kelly got at the Goshen sale a few years ago, and she bought it for like 30 grand, and she's turned into like quite a racehorse. And I know some of our guys have gotten Goshen yearlings, and they turned out to be really good and made a lot of money. So, and you bought them for not much at all, like some of them are less than 20 grand. I said I'm talking 30 grand for Corner Store, but some of them are even less. Gretzky the Great was 48,000. He was a late bloomer though. He turned out really good later on as he got older. And then, but it's a great sale. So the package is basically it's $400 per share. So that that share gets you 1% of both horses. So if you buy 1% of the package, which is available on the website right now, it's available on the website right now to purchase if you want to hold your spot. And basically, if you get 1%, that means that gives you 1% of both horses. And then if whatever the price is, if the price ends up like 42,000, or let's just say it ends up like 38,000, then we'll just credit you the difference, the 38 versus the 40. Same thing if it ends up a little bit more than the 40, like I don't know, 41, 42, or whatever it is. It won't be too much more because we're keeping it in that 40,000 range. We'll just add that to the bill. But the goal is we're pretty confident it should be below 40, or in that 40-ish range. Hopefully a lot less. And the idea is anyone who gets that, so anyone who buys into one of those packages or this package, you will be you'll have the ability to buy more. So basically you'll hold your spot, and then once you actually see the yearlings that we get, you'll be able to say, you know what, I like this one, this particular one a lot for whatever reason. Maybe, I don't know, you see someone in the family you like or whatever it is, and then you might say, I'll take another 5%, 10% of that one. this one I'll stick to whatever percent, however it may be, or you like them both and you say, you know what, I want 5%, 10% extra of both, 1% extra of both. So the people who buy those packages now, you will get first right to buy additional whatever you want. After the dust settled and everyone kind of who initially bought the package gets what they want, if there's anything left, then we'll put that on the website and then anybody else can buy. But these two horses, we're not Go for Glory is not going to have that much available because we're partnering on these two yearlings with an external partner, so there will not be a ton available. So just kind of keep that in mind, you might want to. It's a good thing to get your spot in. And the reason why we're doing this is because what happens with the yearlings every year is they sell pretty fast. So and then we have bigger guys who they like 10%, 15%. So if we only have and I always keep some myself. So I like to have a piece of every single horse in the stable. So if everyone has if the big guy's coming in and they're like, give me 10, another guy says 10, I have my percentage, another guy says 10. Next thing I know, that horse is getting, there's nothing left. So that's why it's good for people to we're offering this before the sale so that if you're very serious and you're like, yeah, I definitely want to add some yearlings to my stable for next year, you can hold your spot. So that's the goal versus if you wait until the sale and then someone calls me and says, oh, I want, big percent, or they just go on the website and then, you wake up the next morning and you're thinking about it and you wake up the next morning and the horse is sold out. This is the reason why. So those two yearlings will be, they'll be mainly we're expecting those two yearlings to be with Rob Harmon, he's had some success with yearlings in the past. The most recent big one was a horse named Andy Sophia, which I got to pull up her lines one of these days, and she was a $5,000 or $5,500 trotter from Winback Farm, filly trotter. She was a filly trotter, only $5,000. It was $5,000 filly trotter, and she ended up making $450,000. So, and that was all with Rob Harmon. He had her from the beginning. He broke her. He taught her how to trot. I think she won the Kentucky Sire Stakes. She was a Yonkers Open trotter for years, or at least a year, and $5,000 yearling made $450,000. So, and that was Rob Harmon. He had her from the beginning to the end. So, and she's a filly trotter. So he's very good. He shoes them. He shoes the horses himself. So he'll know how to tinker here and there to get them to trot this way, that way, pace this way, that way. Forget if it's a pacer, and then. He's excellent. The best thing is that the horses will be located in northern New Jersey at Big Z Training Center, and so that you can easily get to it anytime you want. So those are those two yearlings, and we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. We got to see how it plays out. The cost. So I'm going to do a video. Well, I'm not doing a video. I uploaded a video. You're going to see it as well, and you'll get an email on it of just explaining how the racehorse ownership, how owning harness racing stakes horses and babies, how it works, and the costs. The costs, I don't want to say it's. The costs are similar. It's similar to the overnight racehorses. It's just that it's different in the timing of the purses. So, and that the fact that you have stakes fees. So what I mean by that is, when you have a horse racing overnight, an overnight racehorse, it's probably going to be $4,000 a month, probably. $4,000 if it's racing 3 to 4 times a month, and doesn't have that ton of vet bills. It's probably going to be around $4,000, $4,200, around there a month. If he's racing every single, 3 to 4 times a month, not a crazy ton of vet. So. And you got to pay race costs, and those race costs add up. When you have a horse, when you have a yearling or a 2-year-old that's training down, well, from a yearling perspective, it doesn't cost too much because they're just kind of learning to be a racehorse and just jogging, and it doesn't really cost a ton. So, I would say, I I always say just budget from a cost perspective. Just budget like I'm a conservative person, so like that's just how I am, from my whole life. So I always just expect the worst and hope for the best. So like for me, like I would always budget, I don't know, $3,500 to $4,000 a month of yearling of baby cost. Just and when I say that 3,500, let's just split in the middle. 3,700, 3,700 a month of baby cost. It goes up and down. So you'll have some months where it's way less if they're turned out and doing nothing, or if they're just plain old just jogging and training, and there's no transportation, there's no shipping, there's nothing, there's no vet. It could be less. It could be less. It could be like $3,000 or $2,500. I don't know what it could be. Maybe $3,000, maybe $3,500. I don't really know. When I say I don't really, like, I don't know. You can't tell how much like vet fees they're gonna have. You can't tell like what kind of like if it's a colt, if it needs to get castrated. So like there's a lot of like unknown. So I just say just budget like 3,500 to just say, let's just split it in the middle, 3,700. Budget for 3,700 a month, and then if it comes less, if the bill comes less, then it's like, all right, good. So it wasn't that much this month for the babies that we're training. If it comes more, that's probably because they had stakes fees or they had some sort of veterinary work or shipping, which there shouldn't be much shipping because we're just buying them at Goshen and they're going to be at Big Z, so there shouldn't be much shipping involved at all. But it's really just going to be stakes fees, which is in January through May, that you'll see elevated costs. And then once they start racing, you'll see higher costs because of like they'll have more vet and they'll have more like race costs. But that's when they're racing, that's going to be like a normal racehorse. But before then, if they're just training, I would say just budget 3,700 a month. So 1% of both. So if you get 5%, if you bought 5% of the package, for example, then that's 5% of each horse. So that's 10% in total. So I would say that's like, let's just say, somewhere between $350 to $370 a month it will cost for your horses while they're training down. I would say on average. It could be less, it could be more. On average, I would say around there. But the whole point of this is we want to give everyone a chance to hold their spot and get in early, because if you wait until the sale and let's say we get a horse that for whatever reason the whole world loves and they're like, oh man, we got to get that horse, and that horse gets sold out before you even have a chance to get in, that would sting. So this will give you an option to, if you really know, like, oh yeah, I got a lot of racehorses in my barn, I need some sort of, I want to get some affordable solid yearlings that are going to be housed in the New Jersey area, and where I can potentially visit them, and they're going to be not too expensive and racing in this Northeast area, then you can pull the trigger, kind of get your reserve your spot, and then if the sale comes along and if there's anything available, then you can be like, yeah, I'm just going to take some more. So but you'll have first right to do that. So that's the package. So that's what's going on. I'm trying to get to a lot of the questions I've been getting. A lot of the questions were mainly on like the cost. A lot of the questions were mainly on the cost, the monthly cost. So I would say just split it in the middle. Just say $3,700 per month per horse. But when I say $3,700, some months it will be less, and some months it could be more, like when they have stakes payments. So, but these horses here will probably not going to get staked heavily, because these is, we're not going to be staking these to the Hambletonian, all these like big stakes as 2-year-olds. We're going to first see what we got. So the stakes payments are not going to be much for 2-year-old season. We're going to just basically see what we got first, and it's going to be very light staking. We're going to just see what we got, and then as a 3-year-old, if we hit the jackpot, we got something super good, then yeah, the stake payments will be more as a 3-year-old. So that 3,700 number might be a little more, like $4,000 or so. But I would say right now for these 3,500, 3,700, and I'm probably giving you a higher number than it probably will be to expect per month. And like I said, it'll go lower a lot of times, and sometimes it might go higher for stakes payments, really, or for like unusual vet that they have. But all of us do it. So like I have a bunch of yearlings from last year that we still have one that's not racing yet. So we're making payments on, and he hasn't raced yet, and that's just part of the game. So that's just how the baby game goes. And but you'll see it's worth it at the end. And we're not keeping horses around that are not showing that they have some sort of potential. If they're showing that they're not getting with the program, we'll have to move them, just like we move like yearling, claimers and conditioned horses. So, so that's that. Hopefully that answered a lot of the questions. As far as like which particular yearlings we're looking at, I don't want to get too specific yet. But we're looking at the whole program, looking at all the yearlings over there, and we've had some success with trotters, we've had success with pacers. We do like New York program, and we're looking for horses that there's some sort of like angle, like we have a sibling to it, or there's a family that we gravitate to, or there's a particular sire and dam that makes sense, that we really have had success with in the past that we're looking for. And then also it's whatever Rob Harmon, he might see something too that makes a lot of sense, so we'll look into that as well. And the price has to be right, and the horse has to look good and everything. So there's a lot that goes into it. We could probably get into more of those later, like how we evaluate the yearlings. But I just want to get you kind of like try to address a lot of the Goshen yearling sale questions. That it's up there. You can reserve your spot if you're serious about getting a yearling, just to make sure you're good and that you can get at least a minimum of what you're looking for. And then, like I said, I'm taking a piece. A lot of like our Gulf Glory guys who are been in the group for a while, they take their pieces. So it goes pretty fast. So just, especially when we actually get them. So you might want to, from past experience, you might want to just reserve your spot. That's all I'm saying. If you're feeling like you got a lot of racehorses and you're like, what, I can use some yearlings, I would say just reserve your spot just so you're good. So that's that. So let's talk about the babies. So I'm going to make that quick because this video is getting a little long. So the babies are starting with Adios My Lindy. She was in a non-betting race, so I can't pull up her replay, but I have it on my phone. And she was really good. I mean, you could tell she looked like she wanted to break a lot of the time. So Bruce Ranger, who's one of the top drivers in Plainridge. He was holding her together. It looked like she looked like she wanted to run a lot of the time, but at the same time, she looked powerful, like really powerful. Like she did a 59 mile, but it looked like it looked like she had so much more trot in her and power in her. Like, to me personally, I think if she can figure out how to just trot naturally and not break, I don't know. Like she looks like she might be better than like Geologic. Like more power than him. Geologic is. We can jump to him next. Geologic is more of a professional. He'll be in the box hopefully tomorrow for Thursday. Let's pray that 2-year-old maiden race fills again, because he should that's a good race for him. But he'll be back in Thursday next week, and he's a professional. That horse for a 2-year-old. I mean, he never looks like he wants to break. Adios My Lindy, you could see she's like really wants. She's kind of holding. You got to kind of hold her together. Geologic, you don't have to hold together. You can go to the outside. You can go to the inside. You can get to the front. You can make 2 moves with him. He can do it all. So, and trotting is half the battle with trotters. The baby trotters, it's like half the battle. So he's doing well. He kind of fell on that race that he got beat. He just got what's the phrase? He was a little green on the lead, so basically he didn't really know what to do when he was in the lead, and the horse kind of just snuck up on him and passed him. So that's normal with these horses. They've never raced in the lead, a lot of them. So this is all new. This is all new for them. So he's learning. This is what the experience is all about. This is what those races are all about. You want them to learn as much as possible, so that once they get to the Massachusetts Sire Stakes, that they're ready to roll. So, but he's doing great. I looked at his competition. There's two decent ones. So he's definitely, but he's still top three. So which is plenty. He might be top two or so. We got to see how it unfolds. But so far, he's still his division isn't that terrible so far. The Filly Trotter division where Adios is in is pretty tough. So pretty tough. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But they're both. The good thing is Geologic and Adios. They both look really good in general. Powerful horses who look pretty good. And then the last one we have left is Second Chapter, and Steel Castillo Century was sold, and Second Chapter is he's hoping to he's been in 203, which is really fast. 203. He hit his hind leg a little bit, and it was inflamed. Not terrible, but just inflamed a little bit. So Paul wants to just train him one more time, really, really good at Vernon Downs. Do another big mile with him, and then try to correct some of that, and then hopefully after that. So that would be, soon. That'd be either this week. So hopefully we'll see how that goes, and then hopefully he can qualify afterwards. I know it's already late. It's already like September. So, but hopefully he can qualify, and then we can at least see what we got, get some races in him, and then there might still be some stakes races he can try for. So let's kind of see how that goes. But he's got his sister. I don't know if you saw his sister, my deck collector. She just won the New York Sire Stakes again. She won it as a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. So that's his full sister, 3-year-old, Chapter 7, full sister. Just won the New York Sire Stakes, 2-year-old and 3-year-old. She's making like hundreds and thousands of dollars. I'm not saying, he's going to be like her, but that was why we loved him, because one, he had a great family in his Chapter 7, and he looked amazing. So I'm still optimistic with that horse. Paul's just trying to dial him in. He's just working on some things that he's got to work on with him. Got to get him. These horses aren't easy, so he's just working on them, and hopefully it's like fine wine, and he ages. He comes out. You never know with these yearlings. You never know. What if he looks amazing? Like, what if he's looked better than Geologic and Adios? There's no reason why. No one knows. So we just gotta wait. Let's see how it looks, how it goes, and hopefully he can qualify, and hopefully he can race, and then we'll see what we got at least. So that's the big thing. He gets some experience before next season. So anyway, that's the baby update. If you have any questions, reach out to Charlie or myself, and by all means, if you're interested in the yearlings, the Goshen yearling sale package is available, so you can hold your spot, and you're ready to roll. And then we'll keep you posted and how everything goes. And it's an amazing journey to have yearlings. It's, to me, the best experience, having babies and watching them grow, watching them develop, figuring them out, and then the stakes racing too. It's a lot of fun too. So with that being said, have a good week, and good luck with your horses. Thank you.